that the document that my husband had that we had filed with the United States Citizens and Immigration Services, that it turned out to be a fake divorce decree. We didn't even know.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Afro Millennial. In today's episode, I'm going to be talking to Carol, who is an African American woman who met her husband and got married in Ghana and then had to move to Ghana because they couldn't get through the immigration process fast enough for her. So she moved to Ghana. So she's going to tell us about her journey. She's just going to share her experience with us. So stay tuned and enjoy today's video. Hi, Carol. Thanks for agreeing to do this interview today.
It's my
I hope
pleasure.
you're well.
Yes, it's my pleasure to be here, Nana. My pleasure.
Thank you. So I'm going to let you do most of the talking in this interview. I just want you to tell us a little about like the reason why I'm interviewing you, like marriage and all that. So just tell us a little bit about yourself and how you met your husband.
Okay, not a problem. Well, for those of you who may not know, my name is Carol Allison. I'm from Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love in the United States of America. I am 55 years old. And about almost 10 years ago, I met my husband Ishmael on Facebook. It's about maybe 2 years after my mom had passed. And I had started going on Facebook just to encourage myself. And I also started, Nana, to encourage other people. So I started getting friend requests. I was totally new to Facebook, And so basically, he and I became friends. We were friends for about a year or so. And then it started to turn romantic, We would just ask each other initially, about where each other lived. I would ask them questions about, what's some of the food that they have there in Ghana? He would ask me, where are some of the places that they have in the United States? So we found out we had a lot in common, Nana. My mother had just passed away. And I also found out that Ishmael's father had just passed away. And so we sort of took a bond, I guess you could say, through that. And then, let's see, we started dating in 2016. We met in 2015, started dating in 2016. And so we communicated exclusively on Facebook for about 3 year. Okay, about 3 years. Okay. And I just want to let you know your microphone says mute, but I guess it's okay. But we communicated good. So we communicated for about 3 years. And I'm going to say towards the end of 2018, we knew that we loved each other. We had communicated every day. I started to get to know his family. And that was good for me because I had prayed that prayed that whoever I would marry one day, that I would get to know their family. That was very important to me. I never really had a big, huge family in my own life, I came from a small family, but I wanted to be a part of something bigger, And I had also prayed before I met Ishmael. I knew that I wanted to get married. And I prayed that God would give me someone, Nana, who loved God, who was going to be a good person for me, not a skirt chaser. I told God, honestly, I don't want no skirt chaser. I waited too long. I want somebody decent who had a good, kind heart. And so, like I said, after we started communicating, I realized that he had a good, kind heart. And so by 2019, we knew that we wanted to get married. So we started making arrangements the last part of 2018. And I knew that he could not come to me, Nana. So I said, listen, I'll come to meet you and your family. And my husband does have a daughter. She was 9 when we got together. Her name is Christofina. Now she's 14. She's blossomed into this beautiful young lady. I don't have any biological children, but through my husband, I'm a bonus mom of a beautiful princess, And I have 3 sisters in love. I don't refer to them as my sisters-in-law. They're my sisters in love. and they are amazing. And his beautiful mother is now my mom. So we're all one family. We're very close. So I and his nieces are my nieces. I don't have any nieces, so it's like I've gained this whole new family, Nana, and it's just amazing. It's giving me something that I never had, and
Or you
it's just been
continue, like
amazing
there's
journey.
one question I'd like
Mhm.
to ask. How old is your husband? Because we get
My
this.
husband is 55. Yeah, as a matter of fact, he'll be 56 in 3 weeks.
Okay,
I'll be 56 a month after that. His birthday is
okay.
December the 5th. Mine
So
is
it's not just
January
a
the
case
4th.
of an older woman and a
No,
younger man. Okay.
nope, nope. So it worked out really, really, really great. And here we are. And I'm going to let you take it from there. If you have any other questions about the
So I
immigration
would
journey,
like
but
to
that's how we met.
Yeah. So when you met him on Facebook, like, did you have any doubts? Like, we hear a lot about internet scam, like
Hmm.
fraud
Hmm.
cases, like all that. Were you
Hmm.
concerned that you were getting into something like that?
You know, from him, I did ask him in the beginning. I said, "Listen, you're not one of these guys that are after a green card, are you?" He said, "No, no, no, no." As a matter of fact, man, I was talking briefly to someone else for a little while, just a little while, getting to know. And so Ishmael was always in the background as my friend. He would always say, "Hey, Sister Carol, how are you today?" I said, "Fine, Brother Ishmael." We didn't get a chance to talk a whole lot, but in the beginning, but things started to really, I guess you could say, blossom. I had told him, I said one day, I said, "Oh, Brother Ishmael," he would ask me, he said, "How's your friend?" I said, "I don't think it's going to work." I said, it's some issues there." He said, "Oh, that's a shame." And then he said, "Well," he said, "maybe if things go well, with you at another time, maybe you can consider me." I said, "Is that what you were trying to say?" He said, "Yes, Sister Carol." He said, "I've been wanting to say it for a while." I said, "Well, why didn't you say anything?" He said, "Because I didn't want it to seem like I was trying to break you up from somebody else." And I said, and then once we started getting together, he said something, Nana, that really, really, really touched me. And I said to myself, "Okay, this guy is pretty cool." He said, "Sister Carol, when you told me that you broke up with the other guy and how he was," he said, he said, "You know what I did?" I said, "What did you do?" He said, "I was in my backyard one day," and he said, "I was kind of like crying." And I said, "God," he said, "that lady is so nice. She doesn't deserve to be mistreated." And then he told me when we got together, he said, "Carol, I will never throw dirt in your eye." I had never heard anything like that. And I didn't know if it was a Ghanaian saying or what, but I said to myself, I said, "Okay, he will never throw dirt in my eye." I said, "I'm going to give this guy a try." And boom, we started, really, really connecting. He sent me, I think it was a Lionel Richie song. I sent him Luther Vandross song. And it just really turned out beautifully. And one of his sisters had just come back to Ghana from South Africa. And, I got a chance to just meet them and talk to them and communicate. He has one sister in Kumasi, and other two sisters are here. And it's just amazing. And I would talk to mom. Mom said, "Hey, how are you?" I said, "I am fine, Mom. How are you?" She said, "I pray for you every day. I pray for you." I said, "Mom, thank you so much." I said, "Sweetheart, because I sure need them. Pray for me." And that really touched me too, that his mom was a praying mom, because I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
And we were Christians. And Ishmael shared his story with me. Half of his family, they were Muslim to begin with, but then later on, years down, I think he was like in his teens when they turned Christian. And we just had a lot in common. And it just really took off from there. Like I said, I didn't come see him right away because I was going through some things financially, and
Mm.
he wanted to help me, to come. And so it was about, like I said, it took about 3 years for me to get here. But it was good because we got a chance to really solidify our relationship. So it wasn't something, Nana, that was just this, what do you call it, spur of the moment
Yeah.
romance. We took our time, and that really made a difference, I think. Hmm.
So that's how did the people around you take it? Like, you told your friends or your family,
Hmm.
I met someone on Facebook, we've been talking, and I want to go to
Hmm.
Ghana
Hmm.
to get
My brother, I only have one brother.
okay.
He's 10 years older than I am.
Okay.
So now he's 65. And so my brother and I, we've always been close, but my brother was actually living in another part of the city. So we really didn't see each other a whole lot. He stayed busy a lot. Um, so I didn't really tell him at first because my brother really, he stayed busy a lot in his own world anyway. But I knew eventually I would tell him. It wasn't that I was trying to hide anything. But I said, okay, I'll tell him a little bit later on. Let me get this off the ground. And, I didn't want to bring him anything, Nana, that wasn't right. So I said, let me just deal with him one on one, me and Ishmael right now.
Yeah.
And then, as far as my friends, I don't have a huge circle, Nana. I never have, but I do have quite a few friends. But I will say this. There were a few who were concerned because they had heard of the stories, Nana. Oh, particularly as it relates to African men. Oh, they're scammers. They want the green card. And one of them told me, oh, well, and I understood, but she was saying, be careful because some of them, they will tell you they don't have a wife and their sisters turn out to be their wives. And I understood what she was saying. I did. But I knew, Nana, that I trusted God and I trusted the God in me. And I knew, Nana, that I had enough faith in God. I've been saved since I was 18. And I knew that the God that I loved and the God that I served would not give me no junk. I knew that I was one of his beloved daughters. And I knew that if I waited on God, that he was going to do right by me. And when he gave me the green light in my heart and said, it's okay, that was all I needed to know. Now, it doesn't mean that people didn't have their opinions. Yeah, some of them still do. And I respect that. But I knew in the end that I had to take a chance. And sometimes we have to step out to find out whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. And I said, well, and I trusted God enough to know. I said, okay, God, let's just say even if this guy wasn't the guy who I thought he was, I said, God, I still have enough faith in you that you will enable me to rebound. My life would still go on, and I would still go on to wonderful things that because of my relationship in God, with God. So I knew that, Nana, either way, I was going to be okay. Either way.
Because God.
That's when I knew. Yeah. And I remember when I was traveling in 2019 on my way to see him, I had never done an international flight before. I hadn't really had too many flights before. The
Oh,
only flight I had ever had was in 2005. I went to Nevada with a couple of friends, but that was it. So you're talking about from 2005 to 2019. I never been, hardly, you don't want to play before. And then an international flight. But I remember when things started getting together. And I remember, Nana, I never will forget this. I remember locking my door, had my bag packed and everything, locking my door. And I had talked to him. I said, babe, I'm on my way. I'm leaving my house. He said, okay. I said, I'll call you when I get to New York. I'll let you know because I left out of JFK. And all I can remember is feeling so much peace, like I am going into something really, really great. And I remember taking a selfie of myself on the Amtrak train. And I still have it. And I said to myself, hot dog, you did it, girl. You are a happy woman. And to this day, it's the same thing. I would not change a thing. Always say, Nana, if I meet Mark Zuckerberg, I have a lot to tell him. We both do. Because who meets on Facebook? Who
yeah.
really falls in love? But it does happen. It does happen. Yeah. And it will be 6 years for us on January 24th.
sorry, 6 years of being married.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, ma'am.
And
Yes, ma'am.
10 years of knowing each other.
That's right. Since 2015.
Wow.
Started dating in 16.
So
Yeah.
how has your journey been so far? I know like immigration is a lot.
Mhm.
Like it's a whole
Mhm.
issue on its own. So how has your
Oh,
journey
yeah.
on immigration for me?
You know what, Nana? This has been, to put it, the best of times and the worst of times when it comes to immigration. Not our marriage, but immigration. Again, we got married in January 2019, to bring you in a little bit on that. When I came here to get married, I stayed here in Ghana for about maybe 2 weeks or so, week and a half, and then I had to go back to work. I had worked as an administrative assistant for the local government. My husband does IT. He's like an IT technician, repair guy, and he also does some driving, like Uber stuff. And so when I got back to the United States, I knew I wanted to file the visa for my husband. I said, it may take a little while, but I'm going to file. So I remember going to an attorney. This is where it started. I went to an attorney in Philadelphia, and I had made an appointment with her, and I walked in and I said, hi. I said, my name is Carol. And I had told you that I had went to Africa to get married. She said, oh, okay, yeah, come in. So she sat me down and we started talking, Nana. She said, have you ever been married before? I said, no, ma'am, I've never been married before. She said, what about your husband? I said, my husband did have a local marriage. She said, long time ago. It was never registered, you
Mm.
know. But I said, for what my husband shares with me, it's like an engagement would be,
Yeah.
So she says to me, does he have anything to show that he is no longer in that relationship? I said, I don't think so. I said, but I'll ask him. She said, because the reason why I'm saying this is because she said, I would hate to see for you guys to go all the way through the process and then they ask him and then he doesn't have it. It'll be a situation. I said, okay. So I immediately, Nana, got in touch with my husband. I said, babe, I went to the lawyer to see about filing a visa for you because I said I don't want to do it on my own because Donald Trump had, been in office and he had said that immigration was his main,
Yeah.
point. And I didn't want to file anything on my own and not know what I was doing. So I said, babe, I said, I went to the lawyer. She said, you probably need to get something to show that you're no longer in that relationship. He said, okay. He said, well, I'll go back to AMA where we were married, the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, where we were married. And so he went and he told the guy there, he said, listen, I got married. My wife is in the US. She wants to file the visa for me. And so it was a guy there, he said. And he said, the guy said, oh, okay. He said, I know what you need. He said, we help people like that all the time. Come follow me, Charlie. He said, I'll show you what to do like that, right? So my husband followed him. And the guy walks my husband into this room, sits down. The guy, he said, was taking notes and everything. And so he told my husband, he said, well, it'll be what he said, like 1,000, like 2,400 cedis or something. And he said, my husband had 1,000 cedis on him. He said, well, I'll give you this now. And then maybe later, he said, yeah, that's fine. So my husband gave him all the information, and so he thought everything was going to be okay.
Yeah.
So that was like around, I want to say like around February. We got married in January, so I'm going to say around the end of February or so, and all of that. So when months were going by, I'm going to say like when it got to be around March and April, I said, babe, I said, what's going on with the document? He said, I don't know what's going on. He said, the guy told me that they would have it ready, but he said, I'm going to go back and check. So the guy finally did get back in contact with him. My husband paid the balance, went to go pick up the document, and that was it. So the lawyer that I had made that consultation with, Nana, I ended up not using her because her price was a little bit too expensive for me. So I found another lawyer in Philadelphia. Everything was fine. We ended up filing the visa. I'm like, yeah. So we submitted all the documents, everything like that. So that was in by summer of 2019 when we were getting everything together. By the time we paid her and everything, we got everything together. And then let me see, things went really, really well. And see, with USCIS, which is the United States Citizens and Immigration Services, they are the first point of contact when you're filing a visa. So they got our information and everything. And guess what? It passed through pretty quickly because usually, from our understanding, when you file an I-130, an immediate relative petition, usually stays what I call an electronic file cabinet for about a year or so. But we got through, Nana, in about 8 to 9 months. I remember the paralegal calling me one of them. She said, "Hey, you guys got the uses pretty quickly. This is cool." So now this is going into now March of 2020, just about somewhere around in here. And then little COVID was starting to hit and all of this. And then little we know the embassies, the United Embassies had closed. And we didn't even know. So my husband and I, like so many other families, we were stuck, Nana, in this pot, I guess you could say, in this boiling pot where we just sat there along with other families for about 2 years. So from 2020, Nana, to 2022, no interview, no nothing. So my husband finally, stuff started moving with USCIS and everything, with NVC, National Visa Center, which is the intermediary there in the middle. And so I remember getting the thing. I said, "Babe," I said, "check your box." I said, "We finally got our interview." He said, "Hey," I went to go get some wache by the side of the road. He said, "Hey, I got the interview." So we were so happy. But again, that was then around, I'm going to say around February 2000, about January 2022. So from like March of 2020 to January 2022, crickets, nothing.
Just waiting.
But we finally got it. And so my husband went to the interview. We had prepared for the interview. We went over the details, just practicing different things, where I work, what's my birthday, what's my favorite food, just stuff like that. So he passed all of that. So then the guy asked my husband, the counselor, he said, "You've been married before?" And, my husband said, "Yes." He said, "Here's all the documents." My husband gave him everything. And the guy asked him at the U.S. Embassy, he said, "Why are you giving me two documents here, two divorce decrees?" He said, "But that's what they gave me." He said, "I had filed for they were supposed to file it in, what do they call it? Asamakasi court, Asamakasi." So he said, "Yeah." He said, "The guy said that they had filed everything. I saw somebody a couple years ago. They supposed to have filed." So the guy who was at the U.S. Embassy just gave my husband a pink piece of paper and said, "You are on a AP, administrative processing. While your case is being reviewed, we will get back to you, yada, 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 as soon as possible." So my husband came out and he asked the security guard at the U.S. Embassy. He said, "I don't understand. What is this paper?" And the guy said, "Oh, man," he said, "they give them all the time. You guys will be okay." He said, "Go home, go sleep. You're going to be fine." So my husband went home and I said, "Baby," I said, did everything go well?" He said, "Well, babe, there's hope." I said, "Hope?" I said, "What happened?" He said, "Well," he said, "you told me what happened with the pink piece of paper." I was like, "Oh my gosh, what is this?" So then it stayed, Nana. That was like what? He had the interview February of 2022 all the way to almost December of 22. They kept him on this delay without nothing. I had reached out to the embassy like many other families that did and saying, "What's going on with our case? What's going on with our case?" And then someone had told us in between, they said, "Well, you guys may have to do what's called a mandamus lawsuit." I said, "What is that?" They said, "It's a lawsuit to kind of get the United States government moving on your case, because a lot of times they just need a nudge. So you may want to consider doing the mandamus lawsuit." And we checked into it. It was very expensive. Some attorneys were charging, $10,000 and all of this stuff we just did not have. But to God be the glory, they finally did release his decision and told him that he was denied the visa. They really didn't go into full detail. We did not find out, Nana, until maybe right before they denied us, that the document that my husband had, that we had filed with United States Citizens and Immigration Services, that it turned out to be a fake divorce decree. We didn't even know. So here we go, Nana. We have filed that with the I-130, and we didn't even know.
So the guy,
And so that was a mess. Um, so then someone had told me, they said, well, you know what? You need to get a lawyer who is a U.S. lawyer, but who's Ghanaian. I said, I didn't think about that. It's to get someone who is familiar with U.S. law and Ghana custom law. And I would tell anyone here right now, if you're fighting any type of battle, try to get a lawyer that is familiar with your spouse's country and U.S. law, because it does make a difference, I think. And so to make a long story short, we got a lawyer, found one in New York who is Ghanaian, and he filed the waiver for us. We had to do a waiver, it was called a 601 waiver, which is like an appeal, a second chance. Please let us in, let me in. But the only difference is I had to file that in terms of I have to plead to the United States government. The proof, or the how can I put it? The burden is on the United States citizen in that case, because you are saying, I really need my husband here. You have to state your case. So we filed that. So now we're waiting. We filed that a year ago,
back.
and now we're waiting.
Let me take you back.
Sure.
The fake documents was from that guy at the AME.
Yeah, the AMA, Akron Metropolitan Assembly, was a guy who worked there who took my husband to somebody, and my husband filed a police report. We had to get a police report. We put that with the information with the 601 waiver. I had also got a lawyer here in Ghana to do my husband's divorce decree, because what happened was we found out, Nana, that the divorce decree not only was fake, but guess what? My husband really didn't even need it. So really, we didn't even need neither.
Traditional customary marriage, it's not even in the courts. So how
Right.
were they like asking for, or how did that guy say he was going to give a divorce decree when the marriage was not registered in courts in the first place?
Right. But see, because I guess my husband, we had already put down, because we and my husband, we were totally honest. My husband put down the woman's name. You know, of course, he has a daughter, so he put everything down. So I think what happens, Nana, is once you bring someone, they have the name of the individual.
Yeah.
Now something has to be done to show, okay, you're no longer with the individual. So I have reached out to an attorney also here in East Legon, and very credible. And he said, yeah, he said, although your husband's marriage, what would you call it, was a traditional one long time ago. He said, but because her name has already been introduced, you still have to now do a proper divorce decree. He said, let's just do that anyway. So we did that.
It's like you guys are being punished for being honest about like everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Because one of my friends in Philadelphia, Nana, her name is Nana too. She told me she's from Cape Coast. She said, Carol. She said, I had known he was going to do that. She said, he could have just said, that's my baby mama. He said, she didn't even have to.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Like,
oh my God. It was a doozy. It was a doozy. It was. But we ended up doing the proper divorce decree. In other words, Nana, we said, listen, let's just give them what they want and get everything done. We did a proper divorce decree. It's been filed in Adenta Court. We got a judge. Now I was in Philadelphia, but they got a magistrate judge here with the seal. We knew now what the real one looked like. So we got it sealed, you know what I mean, with the seal on it. The former partner came down from Kumasi, signed off on it. Mother-in-law went to court. All of it was before a judge. The judge interviewed my husband and the former partner with the lawyer present. So everything now is fine. So that part is fine. So now we filed that a year ago, October the 19th, 2023. We filed that. Okay. So now we're just waiting, because when you go onto USIS's site, it says 80% of the cases are for I-601s are resolved in 28 months now. And I've been here for a year and a half. It was 22 months when I came here, Nana. Now look how slow they keep
Now
increasing it.
when you say it's been 22
It
months,
was it was 22 months. The waiting period now for cases to be resolved when I first came here, Nana, last year, it said like 22 months.
because where are you right now? We don't know.
I'm in Ghana now. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm in Ghana.
that's the point I
Mhm.
wanted to make. So, at what point did you decide to just leave everything and like move to Ghana?
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So I got what you're saying. So last year, it wasn't until like around, I'm going to say, Nana, probably around January 2023 or so. My husband and I were on the phone. It was like lunchtime. I was working at my job, and I would talk to my husband on lunchtime all the time, Nana. And he said, "Babe," he said, "what are we going to do?" He said, "They done denied me the visa," and he said, "My wife is in the U.S. I can't get the high." He said, "This is crazy." He said, "What are we going to do?" And during that time, Nana, I knew that the job that I was on, I had outgrown my job. This is where it gets juicy. I had outgrown my job, Nana, and I had gone back to school maybe right in the middle of COVID, and I earned my master's degree in education. So I have an M.Ed in education to teach English to speakers of other languages. So I did that all while being a full-time secretary for the local government. And so we were on the phone, and it was like a eureka moment because one of my friends had been telling me, two of my friends actually, they had been saying, "Listen, Carol, you have nothing to hold you here in the US. You have no children here. Go." I had one friend in New Orleans, Monica, she said, "Go and be with your boo. Go and be with your boo. It's no sense of being here, girl. Just go on to be with your boo." Like that. I love her. And so she had told me one, and then one friend had told me, she said, "Well, if you can't get your memories here, get them with him there." And it seemed like that really stuck with me. So my apartment was going to be up for renewal. I think I said around July or so. I said, I don't want to keep being here without him. Why? Why keep staying here? And so I knew that I needed to leave. I was tired of the job that I was on anyway. And I knew that I wanted to go into teaching because I had earned this master's degree, and I wanted to start using it. I wanted to start using it. I didn't know how, but I wanted to start using it. So what I did was, I'm going to say around February or so, I knew that I wanted to come out of that job. And I put in for my retirement. I had been with the local government for, oh my gosh, about 17 years or so. So I put in for my retirement. I got that. And I started teaching on an online platform for ESL, English as a Second Language. So everything just started falling into place. So by the time I got here to Ghana, I was teaching online, which I loved. And now I found, here's the thing, although everything that happened, Nana, when I was saying it was the best of times and the worst of times, although we went through and we have gone through all of these lemon situations, as I like to call it, now we have made lemon cupcakes out of it. The whole situation has been reversed. I found my career. We get to spend time together, and we're just together. We just, we're making the best out of a crazy situation. And we found out we weren't alone. There are a lot of people who are going through what we have gone through. I know one young lady, she got denied the visa because someone had given her parents a fake passport or something when she was younger and all of this crazy stuff. So there are a lot of craziness, a lot of loopholes that can come when it comes to immigration. So it can be tough. It can be tough. And I want to say that particularly if you are a U.S. citizen filing for someone outside of the United States, it can really get crazy. My advice now, if I had to do things all over again, I mean, I would still be with my husband, no doubt about it. I would strongly consider doing a fiance visa. It gets them there with you faster.
Thank you for staying to the end of part 1 of this video. In part 2, Carol is going to talk about her life in Ghana and how she's fitting in the Ghanaian society. So watch out for part 2. Thank you. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel so that you get more informative videos such as these about living life as a Black person generally. Thank you, and have a good day.